Boom. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Sunday to you all, and welcome to another live beer review. Today, I think I did the same thing last Sunday too, which ending it on a good note, and what better brewery to do a review on than another beer from Anchorage Brewing Company. You guys know by now that Anchorage Brewing Company is probably one of my favorite breweries of all time, I would say. And they're making a lot of fantastic beers over there. And today, we got another one from them called Beneath the Water. This looks like a lot of craziness going on in this can art. See if I can get the best kind of like sideways kind of motion for you. But that is just incredible when it comes to just illustration on a can itself. And this is actually one of the more easy drinking IPAs, I guess you could say. It's only a 6.4% hazy IPA, and it is double dry hopped with Phantasm powder, Strata hops, and Citra hops, which is, I think, is going to be a really, really nice combination of a really juicy IPA that still has a lot of citrus characteristics, along with like maybe a little bit of a passion fruit and very cannabis dank-like characteristics to it as well. So, of course, Anchorage Brewing Company is doing so many fantastic things over there when it comes to a lot of their barrel aging, when it comes to their stouts and barley wines and all that stuff, to higher ABV IPAs. They're just doing a lot of cool stuff over there, and I'm super excited when I get the chance to drink any of their beers, to be honest, because not all of them are the same. Everyone has a little bit of a different characteristic to it, so there's not really just making the same beer and slapping a new label on it to make it call it something different. But yeah, I am super excited to drink this one because I don't really drink a lot of like they're kind of almost in that sessionable kind of realm. You guys know by now a lot of their IPAs that I drink are in the higher of ABVs when it comes to just maybe that's a double dry hop, like double IPA or maybe even a triple IPA. But this is just your normal average hazy IPA that I am super excited to drink. So, like I said, with it being having Strata and Citra hops, Strata has that it's kind of created a name for them itself for the specific hops that it kind of is. To kind of, it's said to have loads of passion fruit flavor in it, but it's also supposed to add a lot of cannabis-like characteristics. If you're looking to like make an IPA that has cannabis notes in it, most likely there's going to be Strata hops involved in it, because it also brings up a little bit of a citriness, like a grapefruity citrusiness to it as well. And then, of course, your Citra hops is going to bring a little more citrus, maybe a little bit of tropical fruit notes coming through as well. So it's always a really, really good combination to kind of just, if you're looking for a nice juicy IPA with dank characteristics, that you're going to use some really nice tropical flavorful hops with it, along with Strata most likely, because that's going to give its own like tropical fruit note, plus add those cannabis like characteristics. Plus, this one uses Phantasm powder, which if you guys have heard me talk about it plenty of times already, I've had a couple beers with Phantasm powder in it, and it's a very, very unique ingredient to add to beers. So it is actually it's a Sauvignon Blanc grape that is grown in New Zealand and is turned into like a powdered kind of form, and it's supposed to help enhance juiciness when it comes to it being used in IPAs. A lot of breweries have started experimenting with it as of late, and that's why it is so damn difficult to get your hands on. Like, I know during the whole when the pandemic was going through, a lot of breweries were just buying up loads of it so they could have it in stock, and now since the demand is so high, being able to keep up when kind of get stuff out to the masses and new breweries wanting to try it has been really difficult, because of course they have to get the grapes to grow, and then they have to kind of turn it into a powder. There's so many different things to do to make the actual Phantasm powder itself, but right now it's almost impossible to get your hands on any kind of retailer, wholesaler, stuff like that. So it's very, very difficult to get your hands on. So when you're able to find a beer with Phantasm powder on it, you should feel lucky, because only a few breweries have been able to get their hands on it and use it, and Anchorage is definitely one of those breweries to get their hands on it. So I am super excited to see what the Phantasm powder does in this beer specifically. So let's crack this thing open and see what we get on the nose with this guy. Let's see. Oh yeah, right up front, loads of citrus. Definitely getting the citrus notes. Definitely more of a grapefruity citrus, because it's the characteristics from the Strata being in there. Of course, that's going to have its own like grapefruit-like characteristic to it when it comes to the citrusy flavors you're going to get from it. But then the Citra hops is going to have loads and loads of citrus flavors. That's why it's kind of named Citra, because it's overloaded with flavors of citrus going through it. It's fantastic hops to use for IPAs. So yeah, loads of citrus, not really getting into those like dank cannabis-like characteristics on the nose. maybe on the back end. Maybe I might get it after I pour it. Who knows? But yeah, this just smells like an absolutely fantastic, just nice, easy drinking hazy IPA. So I'm going to be drinking this out of my New Texican Brewing Company pint glass. Big shout out to New Texican Brewing. He's a home brewer that's kind of working on getting his own location down in the Houston area. So if you ever want to get stuff from him, you can always go over to his Instagram, get some glassware, stickers, shirts. I think he does like custom orders whenever he's brewing all that stuff, because he sent me a 4-pack of beers to drink and review, and I did those a while back. So if you're looking to try some new beers, and from a home brewer who's doing it as like his own way, get yourself a hold of New Texican and try some of his beers. His beers are delicious. So let's pour this thing and see what this one's all about. I'm expecting some really nice haziness coming from this one, so let's see. Oh yeah, getting definitely that almost lighter yellow, almost maybe having some orange characteristics of color in there, but it's definitely leaning towards more of that yellow kind of color. But it's like a mix between hazy and murky. Not a lot of head going on in it, but yeah, that just looks like a nice, easy drinking hazy IPA. Yeah, still getting loads of citrus on the front end. Maybe not getting... still not getting that much of that like dank cannabis-like notes coming through. They might have used a little bit more Citra than they used Strata, so maybe the Strata was put in there a little bit less. Maybe they're in the recipe there was not as much Strata in this one, but I still think it smells pretty damn delicious. So let's give this guy a try and see what it's all about. So cheers, everybody. Happy Sunday. Oh yeah, that is juicy 9,000 when it comes to a nice, easy drinking IPA. So right off the bat, get loads of like citrus, not really too much of an acidity coming through it, but it's definitely more of a drier citrus, I would say. Even though the mouthfeel, I would still consider juicy, not really giving any like oily mouthfeel to it, but it definitely leaves that kind of drier thing on the end with it. But overall, the loads of citrus that you get up front, not really crazy in the acidity, which is nice. And just, you're just getting hit in the face with nice, easy drinking, citrusy IPA, and this is exactly what I think they were trying to do, and it's pretty damn delicious. This is something that is perfect for a nice kind of warm summer day situation. So let's look over here at Untappd, and of course on Untappd, this is considered a New England Hazy IPA, which I could have, I can probably assume that's what it is, but let's see here. Looking for a similar beer to this one is probably going to be pretty easy, to be honest, just because having this kind of easy drinking, very citrus forward, maybe having some dank cannabis-like characteristics in there are going to be pretty common. I would say finding a nice tropical juicy IPA is going to be pretty easy. A lot of liquor stores and bottle shops will carry at least one. So I know there are some bigger breweries out there like Voodoo Ranger when it comes to stuff from New Belgium that they're coming out with. They make a lot of new like juicy IPAs. You may not get those kind of cannabis-like flavors, even though I'm not really getting much of those in this, but I think it will still kind of bring out some nice flavors, still getting all that like juiciness from it. Plus, you never know, you might find a brewery out there that's using Phantasm powder near you, but breweries I can think of that are probably making beers like this, of course, New Belgium with some of them. I could see Goose Island doing some beers like this, may not have the Phantasm powder in it, but still having a nice juicy IPA, juicy hazy IPA. Let's see, Magnify probably does stuff like that. Tripping Animals, of course, you got Adroit Theory. Who else? More Brewing Company does stuff like this. So there's a bunch of breweries out there that are making like this New England hazy kind of style of IPA that is just known for being juicy and just having all those like bright, refreshing flavors coming through it, and a nice kind of hazy IPA that pretty much this style is known for. So overall, I think they did another fantastic job with this one. It's definitely doesn't have an oily mouth feel, has that juiciness, but even though that you get hit with that citrus right up front, kind of mellows out. I want to say you're not getting that kind of cannabis-like characteristic where it's like a little bit of a dank note. It's like the most minuscule kind of dank kind of thing going on in there, and it hits you more at the end than up front. And because right up front you're just getting slapped in the face with grapefruit citrus. Not really getting much of the passion fruit flavors that the Strata will be bringing off, but most likely that the recipe has a little bit more Citra and a little bit less Strata, and most likely the same thing when it comes to the dry hopping as well. So overall, this beer is pretty damn delicious. So there's a bunch of breweries out there that you could probably find something similar to this. And of course, the description on Untappd here is pretty straightforward. It's just Strata, Citra, Phantasm powder. That's pretty much all they tell you on there when it comes to the hops and different ingredients that they add to it. Of course, it's most likely a pretty common grain bill. Most likely adding some 2-row in there. Maybe some rice hulls are added for stuff like that. But overall, yeah, it's a very most likely going to be a very simple recipe for this one, but I think it's still packed full of flavor and overall just really damn delicious. So let's look here at my friends list and see if anyone on my friends list checked this one in. Of course, looks like we do, but before we read that one and all that stuff, let's look here and see what the ratings are and all that stuff is. So, like I stated before, it's a 6.4% ABV, which I would definitely consider this in the realm of being something that is sessionable, just because my kind of range of a sessionable beer kind of cuts off around that 7.5 mark. I think after 7.5 is when you're going to start feeling it after one more. And I know I've had some 7.5s to where they're really easy drinkers and you feel fine afterwards. So, but with this being a 6.4, this is well in the range of you could probably have a couple of these and be perfectly fine. So let's see here. And with over 1,195 ratings, this one has an average rating of 4.1 out of 5, which is pretty damn phenomenal for just like your average nice, juicy, hazy IPA. Having like a simple yet complex at the same time IPA with that much of a low ABV and still get packed with that loaded flavor, and also having that kind of average of over a 4 rating on Untappd, I think is a phenomenal beer. And looking over here on Untappd, we're back to my friends list. And of course, when I order my beers, usually from Tavour, which is how I usually get all my Anchorage Brewing Company stuff, I usually buy 2 just so I can get one for me and one for my father, because my father is just as big into craft beer as I am. So he checked this one and he gave it a 4.25 out of 5. So that's a pretty damn good rating for him. He usually kind of sticks between the 3.75 to 4 kind of realm for a lot of his hazy IPAs. But seeing him do a 4.25 kind of rating is definitely really nice. So let's look here at the global rating and see what other people are saying about this guy. So this person even just checked it in 4 hours ago and he gave it a 4 out of 5, but in the description of what he typed in, he just said 4.1. So he may have wanted to give it that 4.1 kind of rating himself, but you only could, depending on what kind of account you have with Untappd, you can only do the increments of like your blanket account, or if you have like a membership with Untappd, you can kind of do more in-depth ratings during your check-ins. So let's see, we got another check-in here. Look, I wonder if, okay, so he said Slava Ukraini, which in English means Glory Ukraine. So I'm wondering if he's in the Ukraine drinking this. I don't know, or maybe he's Ukrainian and was able to get his hands on this one. I'm not sure. But he didn't give it a rating. He didn't need to. Let's see. We got a 3.75 check-in here. Let's see. We got a 4.5 out of 5 check-in, purchased from Tavour, which is how I got mine. Let's see. We got another 4 out of 5. We got a 4.25 here, a 4, purchased off Tavour. Let's see, a 4.5. We got a 4 off of Tavour again. And then we got a 4.25 here, just saying solid beer, thanks Bob. So I wonder if that was a gift from a buddy of his. Let's see, we got a 4 here, 4.25 purchased from Tavour, 3.75, 4. Okay, so this guy gave it a 4.25, saying good IPA, extra 0.2 rating for the cool can label. Yeah, this is definitely one of the best labels I have seen come from Anchorage Brewing Company, to be honest. And that's saying a lot, because a lot of their can arts and their labels are absolutely outstanding. And it just, the amount of detail and depth that they go into like marketing their beers is something that has to be just recognized. And overall, it's a really cool experience to where you can just hold the can in your hand and just look how detailed it is. That's one of the best things about drinking an Anchorage Brewing Company beer. So yeah, overall ratings on this one are pretty damn fantastic, and it's definitely really surprising seeing just a normal 6.4 hazy IPA getting that above 4 average on there, so you know they're doing something good with this one. So with all that being said, let's start trying to figure out what we're going to be doing for ratings over here on Arn with this guy. And of course, the first thing we like to look at is can art. So I'll give you guys a little bit more of an in-depth look at this guy if you haven't seen it on my Instagram already. But yeah, this is phenomenal. Even though you guys hear me talk about a little bit of the gripes that I have with when they put the sideways almost image on there. It's kind of annoying, but also I can see why they did it with this one, just because there was so much that they had to fit on there. Because it's almost like a transition. So right here, you got like a woman, a red-faced woman, and then she's almost transitioning over to like a skeleton, having that like bloody red background. So you the bottom part of the skeleton with the jaw, almost like claws for the hands. Then you start going down the rib cage and all that kind of stuff, and just almost like blood spewing off. So I think that might be a heart on the bottom right, or just some other stuff coming through. That's just, the detail in this is unbelievable. Unbelievable when it comes to just how awesome that can art looks. And they usually put down the artist that they have on here. Let's see if that shows it on here. It doesn't look like it does. If I can find it. Oh, here we go. So yeah, they do a lot of stuff with this guy. So the artist for this can art himself, his name is Wolf Skull Jack. You could probably find him on Instagram by searching in Wolf Skull Jack as well. But he does a lot of cool stuff, and just obviously with this being his design, you can see he's a fantastic artist. And it's just something that I think is really cool that Anchorage partners up with him for a lot of their can arts, just to create an awesome experience before you even open the can. So, yeah, 5 out of 5 for can art with this one. 100%. Just, this is easily one of the best can arts that I've seen come from Anchorage Brewing Company, for sure. So, let's see here. If I got this beer in a flight over at Anchorage, because that's still a bucket list thing of mine to do, is go over to Anchorage, Alaska, stop at Anchorage Brewing Company, and have a flight at the tap room, just because I think that would be an awesome experience. Be able to talk to some of the brewers there and all that kind of stuff, and pick their heads, just because they're doing some really cool things. I would love to talk to them about their barrel aging process and just all the cool things they're doing over there. So if I got this in a flight over there, would I get another one? Let's see. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. It's perfectly juicy, perfectly citrusy, not acidic at all. The more you drink it, the more you're kind of getting those gradual cannabis-like flavors in there, a little bit of a dankiness, but not too crazy. Overall, this beer I think is absolutely fantastic, and just a very, very solid, easy drinking hazy IPA. So I think they knocked it out of the park with this guy. So, let's see. That being said, what is my final rating on this guy going to be? I'm gonna give this an 8.5 out of 10. Really, really solid. Of course, this is definitely one that I would recommend if you're just looking for a nice, easy drinking hazy IPA. If you can get your hands on this Beneath the Water IPA, do not hesitate. Just get it. Just get it for the can art itself, so you can just hold it and look at it in your hands, because just the amount of detail on this label is just unbelievable. And it's probably like I said, probably one of my favorite can arts that I've seen come from Anchorage Brewing Company. So big shout outs to them for coming out with this one. Big shout outs to Wolf Skull Jack for being a fantastic artist. And of course, just big shout out to Tavour as well for kind of getting their hands on this one. They're always getting their hands on some more Anchorage Brewing Company beers. So if you want to get your hands on their stuff, I know they do a lot of distribution on the West Coast. So when it comes to getting down to California and Oregon, maybe some places in Washington State, you could get your hands on it. But there's a couple places down the West Coast that I know has Anchorage Brewing Company beers available. So you just kind of have to look around. And there's a couple pretty good spots that you can get some your Anchorage Brewing Company fix taken care of. So other than that, the best suggestion I'm going to do for you is get yourself on Tavour and just keep an eye out. Make sure if anything drops from Anchorage Brewing Company to follow them on Tavour, so you'll get every notification whenever they have a drop on through there with them. But other than that, yeah, I think that's pretty much what I have for you guys today. 8.5 out of 10 is where I'm going to leave it with this one. Absolutely fantastic. And other than that, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are awesome. If you haven't yet, please hit that like button. It would help me out a lot. Also, if you're new to the channel and like what you see, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well, along with that notification bell. It'll let you know whenever I go live, do another review. I don't think I have a review planned for tomorrow, just because I got to work and all that stuff. I think in the next few days, maybe a little bit, have no reviews coming on the channel, just because work schedule and all that stuff. But I'll have some stuff to post on Instagram for you guys when it comes to possible showing you guys what is going to be available on this. Your last chance to get in on this Patreon giveaway that I'm doing. I might do that post for today, or I might just let the patrons know what they can get their hands on and all that kind of stuff. So, but this week, before the month ends, before we get into September, definitely going to be showing you guys some things of what you can win before we hit September, so you can get your hands on to the Patreon and have the opportunity to win stuff for this August 4-pack giveaway. But also, like I mentioned, my Instagram, you can see what I'm going to be reviewing that day. It's a good place to follow if you want to keep track of what's going on. Of course, you'll see the hand checks I do the day of whenever I review a beer. Plus, you'll see every once in a while updates from Fibs when it comes to new beer releases, all that kind of stuff. Plus, I might post stories of during the brew days, or possibly when I'm transferring stuff over from the fermenters to the bright tanks, or even kegging. So there's a bunch of stuff that I'm going to try to kind of stick to more of getting people to see a little bit more what happens behind the scenes of Fibs. So if you want to shoot me a follow on there to see that, that's the best way to do so. Of course, you could shoot me a friend request on Untappd as well. If you guys hear me talk about Untappd all the time, I think it's an absolutely fantastic platform. I like to call it Facebook for beer drinkers because that's pretty much what it is. You can check in beers, get badges, all that kind of stuff. It's a really, really cool place. And if you're a craft beer fan and you're not on Untappd yet, you're doing something wrong. I'm just going to be completely honest there. So if you haven't shot me a friend request yet, link to my profile is down in the description below. But other than that, you guys heard me talk about the Patreon already. That's going to be the best way for you guys to support me and help me do what I'm doing over here, because it'll help me get more beer in my hands. Plus, it'll help me give back and get more beer in your hands as well, because I do monthly 4-pack giveaways with Illinois exclusive craft beer, a beer that I pick out personally. So each beer is going to be from a different brewery. So, and depending on what tier you join, the higher availability you'll have to win some beers. So the link to the Patreon is down in the description below. You have a couple tiers to join, and the higher, like I said, the higher tier you join, the more opportunities you have to win. So keep that in mind. But that is going to be the best way where you can support me besides just watching my videos. But other than that, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So again, thank you everybody in chat for hanging out. You guys are amazing. Thank you everybody who's going to be watching the replay as well. You guys are fantastic. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to, like I always do before we get the hell out of here. If you're going to drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And I'll see you all next time. Cheers.